Hey folks, welcome back to Money and Politics. It is December 13th, and I hope you had a great weekend. I went away for the weekend to see a friend of mine who I grew up with. We're best friends, and I hadn't seen him face to face for a year. I mean, we talk periodically on the phone. So I share that because, one, I didn't do any research, and I'm coming to you late tonight, so I will look to make this short, and I'll probably go over some of the stuff pretty quick. The other thing I would say is just as an encouragement, you know, we all get so busy a lot of times we don't connect with people we would like to be with. And we're so often around people that maybe we're less interested in being with, but that's who we're with. So, you know, if you want to do what I sometimes am thinking of doing, I'm doing right now, make a list of some of the people you haven't talked to for a while that you like to talk to and give them a holler. Because life does get away from us. You can give me a comment. You can comment on the videos. You can send me an email. And the other thing, which I'm trying to say, is subscribe, because we talk about a number of things here. Certainly we talk about Humble. A lot of times, kind of like tonight, we're going to talk about a variety of things and go over those rather quickly. So with that, very quickly, let's start off with Humble, which I would say not too much. It was a disastrous day on Wall Street. The markets fell off sharply, with the Dow going down over 300 points. And it's just one of those days where you're going to get beaten up in the market, no matter what the heck is happening or what you're holding. So the Dow was down 320 points, the NASDAQ down 217, which percentage-wise was a greater loss. And the S&P down about a point, just under a point. We see here the NASDAQ, or the rather Humble, was down on average volume, a little lighter than the 10-day average. So while it's a 6-point move, it's let's call it about 3 cents down. While we don't like it to be down ever, on the other hand, you know, I think that what I'm going to talk about is that this is a market that faces some challenges, and it's a weird market, is what I'm telling you. This market right now, I would say, is it's kind of teetering in my mind. It's like right in the middle of the seesaw, and I just can't give you much direction. It could go really high for a variety of reasons, and it could crash for a variety of reasons. Now, something that I just happened to see, speaking of the bad news, here we have an article that just came out yesterday. Charlie Munger, who, if you don't know, is Warren Buffett's partner. Charlie Munger, there's an Australian guy who does videos, and he goes, Charlie Munger. Anyway, this market, says Charlie Munger, is even crazier than the dot-com bust. And he goes into some 3 contrarian stocks to help you sidestep the herd. Well, some of the stocks that they suggest I wouldn't have anything to do with. Disney, I think, is a stock because of the streaming that might be good. MasterCard, I don't know, indifferent to. I would not be buying AT&T. But I wanted to bring more the idea that Charlie Munger is, come on, I'm hitting the wrong, let's go. Charlie Munger is worried about what's going on with the market, and I would say it is a weird market. And I already talked, so I won't repeat myself, about some of the political risks that are out there. So that's that. Where the Democrats are trying to pass this, I don't know what we call it, infrastructure bill, social spending bill. The president's pushing over $1 trillion. Joe Manchin so far is not going along. Democrat Joe Manchin from West Virginia is not going along with it. So hopefully, in my estimation, I hope he holds out. Christian Sinema is also one. And if they were to pass something out of the Senate that was changed from the House version, they would have to send it back to the House, and there's some question that some of the Democrats in the House would, if they would vote for it again, because the Democrats are facing a very tough re-election in 2022. All the polls show that the Republicans, this could be in 2022, a huge Republican wave as it was in 2010 when the so-called Tea Party took over, and that put a quick end to a lot of what Barack Obama wanted to do in his first term when the Republicans took over, and then could stop the President Obama's agenda. That same thing people are thinking would happen in next year. Now, in my estimation, and I say this as an analyst, not as a partisan, I think the market would react well to that. That they would like, the market tends to like divided government. So if the Democrats with Biden, they're in the White House, but the Republicans were controlling at least the House, if not the House and Senate, that means that Biden could not be shoving through some of these very liberal policies that he's trying to get passed, and so liberal that he's having a hard time getting members of his own party to go along with it in the Senate, in the form of both Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. So if the Democrats are thwarted in trying to get that passed by Christmas, which is what they're trying to do right now, I think that would be a positive for the market. Now, when we're going back to Charlie Munger there and his thoughts that this could be a questionable market for a variety of reasons that Munger thinks, and I'm not necessarily disagreeing with him. I would say this is a weird market. As I say, it could go either way. I wouldn't go with the stocks that they had in that article, but I would hit my old friend Inmode here that I've talked to you about so many times, and it said hedge funds here have never been more bullish on Inmode. So this is an article that just came out on December 9. That's Thursday, past Thursday. I'm taping this on the 13th, on Monday the 13th. And you can go and see that there is a lot of interest in Inmode. When we are right now, Inmode, let's take a quick look at the stock. This is today's chart. Let's look at a 5-day chart. It's been down, and a 1-month chart, and you can see it's down for 1 month. But back on November the 17th, we were at $4, $91, about $91. So we're down $25 from that. I am saying, in my estimation, that this is a buying opportunity. Could it go lower? It could go lower, but I think that this is a company that's going to be going, here's a 6-month chart, going to be going higher over time. And you can see that it was at 135 back in September. I think that's right about when we had the split. I trust, I don't know if this thing is, I don't know if that's adjusted for the split. Anyway, let me get off of that and go back to the 1-month chart. The point I would say here, folks, that 6-month chart might be wrong, but this is accurate. So what we have here is, I think of this as a buying opportunity for you to take some shares if you wish. And again, Inmode is the company that can make you look younger without surgery. At least that's what they would claim. That's not what I'm claiming. But I do like the stock and have talked about it, of course, many times. Now, lastly, I'm going to say, someone asked me today if I still liked oil stocks. after I did my political analysis. And I wrote to them and gave them an answer, but I wanted to share the answer. And basically my thought is that I still think oil will go up for a while. Okay, let's say 6 months to a year. Why do I think that? I think because as many times the recovery, the global recovery has been much slower than I thought. You keep getting these variants. I would have thought by the end of 2020, we would have been out of the pandemic that started back in February of 2020. And here we are at the end of 2021, we're still not out of the woods. So we've opened up some things, but it's still like this start and stop. Eventually we're going to be reopening globally, and that means we got to have more oil. At the same time, now we've got Biden that we didn't have a year ago, and Biden is putting his foot on the expansion of oil drilling with regulations, with saying you can't drill on federal lands, cutting back on that. So I think that when you're going to have one of the great oil producers, the United States, making it harder to develop oil, at the same time that we will be expanding the use of oil globally, that means you got more demand and limited supply. That's why I'm saying it. Now, let me also add that when we talk about oil, there's so many different things that can be changed in there. I mean, how much oil are the Saudis going to produce? Will we have, there's a political risk that could drive oil higher. It could be the Iranians do something crazy. The Russians do something. The invasion, as I've talked about, of Ukraine could happen, not necessarily so. The Chinese could do something. I think they won't for, as I said earlier, till at least after the Olympics. But you never can forecast these things. So it's impossible to say, as I said to my friend I was responding to who wrote on the YouTube channel, it's impossible to say, will oil continue? Whoop, that's Inmode. But let me bring up the price of DIG. And again, this is DIG is one of the things that is a 2 times the oil price. I want to compare that. Let me open this thing up. See if I can very quickly. I'm remembering here, OSC. Here, sorry, I'm trying to compare it to something. I can't remember the ticker symbol. Well, whatever. What I would say, folks, is that when we compare DIG here, let's just compare it to the S&P 500. And this is for the year. And you can see how DIG is really outproduced the S&P 500. Here, I'm sorry. Let's do. I think this is the S&P. And let's add the NASDAQ in there. And we'll make the NASDAQ green. So you can see both the S&P and the NASDAQ were pretty much in tandem throughout this year, but DIG greatly outperformed them. So there you go. That's a reason that I say that we're still, and you can see the ups and downs in DIG there. We're near the high. If you want to take a position, like always, don't put all your money in at one time. I think I would recommend that you, on virtually anything, stick your toe in the water, and then if it goes down, put a little more money towards the story that you think makes sense. So I think I'm not bullish indefinitely on the oils. And instead of picking just one particular oil, I like the ETFs. I think that gives you a little more safety than normal. But the dig is something that you could certainly consider. I was doing some other research, and I just didn't get a chance to do today, and I'll just tease it, that I'll basically looking at what some of the big money managers, the real big money managers who are managing billions of dollars, tens of billions, in some cases hundreds of billions of dollars. I mean, when I say big money managers, those are big money managers. But the interesting thing is, these so-called smart money guys on Wall Street, they're not necessarily doing that well. They're not, and in just picking general stocks. So when your the bigger the money you're managing, the bigger your fund, the harder it is to get it to move on a percentage basis, because it's just so huge. It lumbers along like an aircraft carrier as compared to a speedboat. But still, that's what I was comparing today. And you've heard me talk so many times, speaking of leveraged indexes, when we talk about UPRO for the S&P, 3 times the S&P, TQQQ for the 3 times the NASDAQ, those which are indexes and you're well diversified with those, blow away almost everything, unless you happen to find something that really just goes up. Now, as I close, remember that if you're in those leveraged indexes that are betting that the markets are going to go up and the market crashes, those will go down 3 times faster than the overall market. So you want to be careful with those. But if you want to put some money into them and control the risk by putting a limited amount in, if in 22 we continue to go up, that would be at least one thing that I think you could have in your portfolio. Put a little bit in. That way you're going to really have a leveraged upside potential. Now, if we, on the other hand, get a real sharp decline, I am of the opinion that the American economy will always go up over time. So if we get a sharp decline and the market were to fall off sharply, that's where I would stand back and wait. But after we see that the market tends to bounce off of whatever bottom it hit, I would be taking some positions on those leveraged indexes at the bottom of the market. Now, we never know when the market fully bottoms, so you buy in stages. There's no one time where you just come and load up all your money and you don't have any more left if it were to go even lower. So you buy in some stages. So that's it. I'll leave it. I always go even longer than I thought. I always think I'm going to do about 5 minutes. I'm apparently incapable of doing that. But thanks so much, folks. If you haven't subscribed, please do so, and do leave a comment. I'm always interested in looking at those. Hope you had a great weekend past here, and as we go forward, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas season with your family. Don't forget, if you haven't talked to some of your dear friends and family recently, why don't you do that as a gift to yourself? In the meantime, I'll say goodbye for now, and we'll see you soon.